Hi, welcome back to Managing Life 101, where if you don't manage life, it is going to manage you. I'm Susan.
I'm Jeb.
And we want to continue a podcast we started about addiction, whether it be alcoholism, drug addiction, food, gambling, pornography. I mean, the list is long about what the devil will tempt us with.
Yeah.
So, this is really good because we both are in recovery. We both have many years of working with other people, and we've just seen a lot of different situations. And Jim and I were talking beforehand, and he's going to talk about where we've seen situations where we've helped, we've guided, we've intervened, we've done this, we've mentored, we've sponsored, and they've been success stories. And then we've done the same thing, helped, mentored, guided, sponsored, and they've died. Because unfortunately, that is the reality of what can happen with any addiction. So we were talking about how to really go about this, and we really thought just actual examples. We're not going to use anybody's name, of course. It is just, there's hundreds and hundreds of people that we have interacted with over these decades that we've been on this journey that has led us to the great life that we have today. So, would you like to be able to, let's talk about that.
Sure. Years ago, I sponsored this one guy for going way back, almost 30 years, who was an anesthesiologist. And he caught hold of the program and went to meetings and stayed sober. And he referred us to a buddy of his who was also an anesthesiologist.
Right.
And could we please talk to him? And we said, sure. We met him at our favorite little diner down in Long Beach for lunch.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy, he looked like O.J. Simpson, The Rock.
Yeah.
He was like
movie star.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, he was.
Black man. Smart, USC, med school. He was in the who's who of whatever the fraternity is, for like wonderful people. And
high achievers.
Yeah, he was
scholastically.
He was definitely all that.
Yes.
And
he was a terrific young man.
But whenever he was off rotation, he would beeline to Vegas and do drugs and have lots of sex and gamble.
Yeah.
And
trifecta.
And then feel very remorseful afterwards. So we met him and just pointed out the fact of like your life on your current path, you won't be practicing medicine in probably a year, 2 max. You'll lose your license. And because of just your addiction will progress to the point where you're not waiting until you get to Vegas. You're going to do a little warm-up before you leave for Vegas the day before. And then a little recovery medicine when you get back. In other words, like it never stays static.
Right.
It always is more.
Yeah. More and different.
Drugs, more and different, more and different. Anyway, we talked to him and really liked him. Of course, you liked the guy.
Oh, yeah.
He was very likable.
Sweet.
And very, yes, sir, I want to, And I don't, did he kill himself? Or did he killed himself.
I think it was like 3 weeks later.
3 weeks later, he killed himself.
Yeah.
And
everything to live for. Everything.
Yeah. And, I just thought, what a shame.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just, the devil got one more.
Right.
The demon,
drug,
demon alcohol, all that goes with it, just got another one. There's no kind of like, discrimination for alcohol, drugs, and addiction.
None.
They'll get everybody.
Everybody.
And
without a doubt.
Yeah. One young gal wanted to become part of our mentorship group, and
Oh, yeah.
and the girls that were coming back then, you know, we require you to show up sober.
Yeah.
And Susan will give them homework each week to do,
Yeah.
which add value to their life.
Right.
And they would do that, and their lives began to change for the better. And this one friend in their group, as time went on, was on the fringe of their group, but this one gal in their group would always laugh and make fun of them
For coming to book club.
for going to book club.
Yeah.
You going to your book club, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And then she ran into two of them, you know, 2 or 3 years later,
Yep.
after they'd been coming. And the two young ladies were at a party, not drinking, looking fabulous,
Yeah.
dressed really nicely, and laughing and having fun. And she went over to them and said, "What, you guys aren't drinking?" They said, "No." And of course she said, "Well, why not?" And they both said, "Well, we're running the Long Beach Marathon." And she said, "You're running the Long Beach Marathon?"
Yeah.
They said, "Yeah, it's in 2 weeks." And then at that moment, she must have had a moment of clarity.
Yeah.
But she said, "I want to come to book club." And they said, "Well, you have to call Jim and Susan, arrange for a lunch and an interview, and then they'll decide whether or not you can come to book club."
Yeah.
And she says, "Well, can't you just, you know, smooth it over for me? Like, you know, we go way back.
Yeah.
Can't you
Yeah.
just tell them that I want to come
Right.
and that I'll be there?"
Right.
And they said, "No, we won't."
Yeah.
Boundaries.
See? We have
Boundaries.
boundaries.
"No, we won't. You have to call them."
They learned boundaries.
She called and arranged for a lunch. We met her at Mimi's.
Yeah, our other favorite little restaurant.
And Susan, right from the get-go, was like, "No way."
Yeah.
You know, no. It's a no.
Well, I had heard all the stories.
Well,
and
yeah, I mean,
Of
yeah.
course, we're never going to give up on anyone, but we were also, you know, our book club has boundaries.
It does.
And
You can't bring
we
drama.
adhered to that. It's a drama-free zone.
Yeah,
And I'm protective of our women.
exactly.
Yeah.
As you should
So,
be. And
anyhow.
as you have been.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, we meet her there, and she's talking about coming, and it's a total blank from Susan, and non-committal.
Yeah.
And then she started crying.
Yeah.
"Please let me come to book club."
It was powerful.
Well, it was
Yeah,
very
it was
powerful. And at that moment, I don't even need to ask, "Are you teachable?"
Yes.
She's
Yes.
open and teachable.
Yes.
And came
Yeah.
and flourished. I
Oh.
said, "If you show up high, I'll know it and you're out."
Yeah.
Not at the end of a club, but that night. Out, right then and there.
Yeah.
Anyway, she started coming, and I would say in 6 months, she started doing these things called Tough Mudders, and
Oh yeah.
you know, these races.
Yeah.
And she changed absolutely everything about
Everything
herself.
about her life.
And now, years later, she got baptized, because we always stress church and a relationship with God. It will do nothing but benefit you.
That's right.
You will never meet a person who will say, "Man, I've been going to church for the past 20 years and like, that was a big mistake." No, never, never. She got baptized, she started going to church, she met the man of her dreams,
Yeah.
also a committed Christian, godly man,
Non-drinker.
non-drinker, non-drugger,
Yeah.
and 3 children now,
Yeah.
3 gorgeous children, and a great life.
Married. I mean, and they married first and then had the children.
Yeah,
I mean, she is like the ultimate. Like, you just pray that everybody would be awesome and be able to have an awesome life like that,
yeah,
because it's possible.
it is very possible.
We are walking, talking examples of the possibility
Yeah,
of results in taking action.
completely.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And I highlight that story because that was like,
Yeah,
it started off like in the total negative column,
right.
and now it's a worthy
Yeah.
quality life, marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids. Any chain of addiction which existed in her
Yes.
family
Yes.
has now been broken.
She's broken it.
But she will advise these children that addiction does run in the family,
Right.
and you are, to stay away from
Right.
drugs because you could love them.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if you love them,
Mm-hmm.
you will make a decision that will
Yeah.
impact your life for years,
Right.
if not decades,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, before you recover from it
Yeah.
and stop. And yeah, I mean,
That's such a great example.
yeah. Susan and I still go to meetings.
Yep.
We still
do.
sponsor people.
Yep, we do.
Always will.
We still have our book club. It's with different women now because we moved to a different state. And the women that we did have, we started our book club probably 15 years ago.
Mhm.
And we're still in touch with so many of those young women.
Including the one I just told you about.
Yes.
With the 3 kids.
We still stay in touch.
Mm-hmm.
We get phone calls, texts, communication. We watch their lives flourish and bloom via Facebook and Instagram, which is a great benefit of social media.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really our ultimate goal. That's why we actually even started Managing Life 101, is because we have been through hell and back, each one of us separately, literally, in different ways. Jim's was different than mine. Because I didn't really have anybody telling me. My father was an alcoholic, and my mother had gotten to where she would drink. I never even liked to call home. This was, after 21, when it was dark, because she could be mean. So neither of them ever told me, oh, well, you've got a problem, you're an alcoholic. Because, of course, I didn't live by them geographically since I was 17, went to college. But, I did, towards the end of my drinking, have people that loved me enough to say they were concerned for me and that I had a problem. And I started becoming concerned for me that I had a problem. So, eventually it was just one time too many that there was a life problem. And I just said, this is not how God wants me to live my life. So I did seek help. So whether you do have an extreme where you're surrounded by people that will enable you, or, you are within a family and you are enabling, go to Al-Anon. We really say go to Al-Anon. And if you go to church, great. Continue to go. Look for people that have great lives and talk to them. And if you don't go to church, start to develop a relationship with God. It's one of it is the most satisfying relationships, rewarding relationships, awe-filled relationships, inspiring relationships you will ever have in your entire life.
Yeah.
Because God gives you everything to be able to have a wonderful life. For me to be able to learn how to love myself enough to attract a man of Jim's quality and character and integrity, that was a miracle in itself, because through my alcoholism, I had gotten to a point where I had lost my self-esteem, and I certainly was not choosing very healthy men. I wasn't choosing the type of men that I have ended up with, but I had to become the right person. So I had friends that were concerned for me. That made a difference. Jim had a mother that literally loved him enough to get help for herself and stop loving him obsessively to and love him to death. But she loved him enough to go to Al-Anon, start to learn how to have her own life, and love him into recovery. And they had a fabulous relationship by the time I came along. There was something that's very special. When a family goes through recovery, it eliminates secrets, And it opens up a whole new doorway to a life you cannot even imagine how wonderful.
That secret thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's part and parcel of a dysfunctional family.
Yes.
Well, don't tell so-and-so.
Oh, I know
because,
it.
like,
Oh my gosh.
you know,
Yeah.
we don't want them to know.
Yeah.
And then it's like this revolving, don't tell so-and-so, don't tell so-and-so.
Yes.
You know, no, we don't live
Yeah.
like that. There
No.
are no secrets.
No.
And that's the way to live.
Yeah.
No secrets.
Yeah.
You got to be you. Do you, as they say.
Yeah. Do you, boo?
I know with my dad took his own life while I was in prison. And,
See?
you know,
He was
he
alcoholic.
he was alcoholic.
Mhm.
You know, mom had the, dual, me and dad.
Yeah.
And and he smoked too, he was a chain smoker. He had emphysema, alcoholism, and he never quit either. Never quit either. And I'll never forget, way before I ever went to prison in my 20s, I came over to the house, and for some reason, and Dad is talking to these two men, and I said, Mom, who are those two guys? She said, well, they're from AA. And then I saw Dad a couple days later. I said, Dad, how'd that talk go? What'd you think? He says, Jim, if I can't help myself, how can I expect anybody else to help me?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, Dad, yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, wrong.
It's wrong.
That's totally wrong. We all need help.
We all do.
You know?
Yeah.
If you're sick, you need a doctor. If your car's not running right, you need a mechanic.
Yeah. If you've got a toothache, you go to a dentist.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he should have listened to those guys from AA.
Yeah. Well,
he might be alive today.
He might.
But anyway, yeah, he wouldn't. So when I came home from prison and started sleeping on the couch, fold-out couch in the den, Mom was a basket case because Dad wasn't dead that long. And I was sober, and I started going to meetings right away, and church right away, and worked out. I did the old prison workout.
Yeah.
With a deck of cards.
Yeah.
I'll explain that.
Yeah, explain that
at another
time. Another time.
But yeah, I started doing my basics that I knew would serve me well.
Yeah.
At home.
Yeah.
And my life on transition to a good life.
Yeah.
But it's one day at a time.
It is one day at a time. And one day at a time, you learn how to have the life you want. It's important to seek people out. If you yourself are, suffering from some type of addiction, if you are a family member and you have someone that has an addiction, there is Al-Anon, there's Alcoholics Anonymous, there's Alateen, there's something for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And mainly there's church. A church community can plug you into a lot of different people and resources.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to wrap this one up just for the sake of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so incredibly grateful that I have been on this path and that I totally made that decision to change my life. And that's what it boils down to. Every single individual comes a time in their life when they make a decision. We make lots of decisions throughout our lives, thousands a day actually, but these major decisions. What is your decision going to be today? If you want a great life, what are you going to do to have a great life?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have someone in your family that you love and you're loving them to death, contact Al-Anon.
Yeah.
Contact someone that has been down this road.
A great life doesn't just happen.
No, it takes work.
Yeah.
And dedication.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good. I love it. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you, honey. I'm so glad we have a great life.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we can share this with you, and that's really what we want to do. So, Managing Life 101, where you learn to manage your life before it takes over and manages you. Bye-bye now.
Bye.